On a whim.
Hello, listeners. It used to be viewers. Welcome back to the restarts of On a Whim, Season 2, and this is our second shot at trying to make episode 6, right, Jabari?
I can't remember.
It's been so long since I've even talked to you, Jabari, let alone record with you. Oh my goodness. Where has the time gone? Last time I remember, we were getting ready for the Spellbearers Kickstarter, and we're going to take a hiatus because of that. And then it all went sideways. Time got away from us, and the New Year's, there's revolts and rebellions, and then January 6th happened.
Wait, what happened?
Yeah,
okay. I was like, what happened there? That was the revolt? Yeah.
I was going to say, Jabari, do you need me to explain that one to you? Oh, no.
No, I'm good. You see, time
all right, just making sure.
A blur to me. The days just kind of blend together. And I just kind of sleep and work. Hope.
Right, you're working now, Hollywood, right?
Yes, Hollywood.
They got to make that money.
Make that cash money.
How many times have they shoved that thing up your nose at this point?
Oh, okay. So I usually go to work at least 4 to 5 times a week in LA, and that's not just including the COVID test. So 4 or 5 times definitely, and then an additional probably 3 or 4 times the week too. So about
Madre de Dios.
It's like 10 or 12 times per week that it goes down into my nose or go up to my nose. But the good thing is that these tests, they don't require for the whole thing, the whole Q-tip to go all the way down, all the way up to your nose where it touches to the very back. Now it's just around.
Yeah, that's where the virus likes to settle. Yeah.
Now it's just around the nostril.
Okay,
so
it's becoming less deeper and intensive. Huh?
Yeah. Or maybe I've just started to like it. I don't know.
Oh no! Oh my!
It used to make me cry. But
my. Now you like it. All right. I was seeing my voice spike there a couple of times, so I had to lower my gain.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Paul is on a good mic for once in his life, so I have that capability.
Tell us what type of mic.
Anyways, well, it's they're not a sponsor or anything, but it's a blue mic. It's a blue mic. So it's a quality product, and I highly encourage anyone wanting to get into podcasting to get a high quality mic.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about why are we in a podcast only format, Jabari. Not to say that you're not my co-host and this isn't On a Whim and all that introduction. The old introduction's outdated. It's gone. It's out the window because now we're at an audio only format. Mm-hmm. Jabari, as the technical director of this podcast, do you want to go into why we made that decision?
Why did we do that? I forgot. COVID, number one, is a big part of that. I guess
COVID was a huge part of it. Yeah.
And then for our studio, right, we basically shut down. Well, actually, we've been shutting it down, right? It's been shut down since COVID.
Yeah, we're online only at this point. Yeah.
And shoot. To be honest, I forgot what the real reason was, but people are busy, going back and forth.
People are very busy, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just hard to get together.
I think the consensus was we can only do one thing well, was either the podcast or the Let's Play part of it, the streaming part. And since you and me, streaming isn't our forte, we were ignoring the chat and ignoring our adoring fans. So we went with the audio version. So listeners, I hope you enjoy the high quality audio you'll be listening to. We still have our wonderful moderator, now turned audio engineer, Shadoe, will be editing this and make us sound tolerable for your listening pleasure. Exactly. So someone dedicated to doing this, might as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So Jabari, you get a PS5 yet?
No.
It's a quiet sobbing.
I've been trying. But what? It's still
every time I every time I see it go on sale,
Mhm.
it's instantly. By the time I get there, it's out of sale.
Mhm.
It's out, right? They're out of stock, and I'm like, are the bots just that quick, or is people just being at home hovering their finger over the PS5 button to buy now,
Mhm.
right? They got like an algorithm go and let him know that hey, Best Buy has it on sale, Walmart has it on whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So Jabari, do you think it's a conspiracy against us, like people, gamers with jobs and lives? Thankfully, right? I mean, I'm thankful to be employed, but damn it, I want a PS5. Is it a conspiracy against us, Jabari? What do you think?
That's a good question because I'm not sure because this could be a huge marketing stunt where supply and demand, people are demanding it a lot and putting purposely as low amount of these consoles out, making the demand even more because people want it, like, oh, they're sold out everywhere, so it makes people feel special when somebody does get that, and people want to they want to be that person that gets it before everybody else. And yeah, so I think it's a little bit of a marketing stunt, but then again, I was looking at like things that happened in the past with consoles like the Super Nintendo and consoles like that back in the day. Is like it costs a lot to develop these consoles, and the cost of it, like when they actually sell it to the customers, usually the companies are losing out on each console.
The retailers or
not the retailers, but the actual
party
company.
So Sony,
Yeah.
Microsoft, Nintendo.
Yeah, so they make the consoles these advanced, programs and all that, and they try to make at least break even for
Mhm.
for that console. Where they make the money is the sales and the software itself, so the video games and stuff. So
So you're saying that even though I feel like the 500 or whatever it costs you, the 600 whatever it's costing is a ripoff,
mhm,
you're saying they're barely breaking even on that.
yes, they're probably losing money on
Interesting.
that.
I never thought of it that way.
Because you got to think about like
Wow.
how long they actually develop these systems, right? Usually it's like what 7 or 8 years of development for these things,
Mhm.
and they have to pay somebody to do that, right? So
Right. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
You're right. So, I mean, what game would you get like on release? So, well, two things, right? What game would you want to get right now? Like how many games are out there right now that you'd be like, I am willing to fork over $600 that I may or may not have?
Yeah, that's another good question because I haven't been following like what games are coming out for PS5. Since they did that conference, the PlayStation conference, there was only a couple
Mhm.
games in there that I really liked, but I can't remember the names. I just remember there's one with the cat that you can be a cat and you just walk around. And I'm just like, I want it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But was it a release title or was that to be released later?
that's a good question. I was assuming since they were showing it through that conference that it would be like a release title. But I
Okay.
never heard anything or saw any videos on it ever since the PS5 came out. So maybe that game is not out, but I can't even look up that game because I don't remember the name of it. Like I'll type in.
Oh yeah, we need to go back to that On a Whim episode and watch that.
Yeah.
Because I remember we were both mesmerized with being a kitty. I remember just kitty, just instantly.
Bye.
I just see my voice spike so hard when I say kitty like that. It was great. Like I'm Boo from Monsters Inc.
Oh god.
But
But how about for you? Like, or
so-
are there games out there that
not at this time,
Mhm.
but there is a game I am willing to fork over the $600 for to get it, and it's going to be the Mass Effect Remastered that's coming out in May.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never
So,
played that. I just heard great things about it.
In my head, I am willing to fork over the $600 not only for the hardware, but then I'll take my money. Like I am ready to have my heart broken again. I'm ready to love again, and I'm ready to get my heart broken again. And I think I've ranted about Mass Effect on this podcast numerous times, so I don't want to get back into it too much. But Did you watch the Video Game Awards late last year, early this year? When was it? Do you remember?
No, I number one, I didn't watch it,
Mhm.
so I don't know when it was.
Well, that was when they announced what's his name from Final Fantasy as one of the villains, one of the new Smash characters.
Oh, really? Sephiroth?
Yeah,
Sephiroth?
Sephiroth. Yeah, that's when they announced him during that same. But I did not watch that. I couldn't give two what's about that. I saw I heard of. I didn't see it, right? But I heard about the Mass Effect, and I saw the teaser trailer, right? And I instantly, like, my brain is like, no, you've been betrayed before. Don't go back to BioWare. But then my heart's like, my body is ready. So, yeah, I had a bit of a nerd moment, a nerdgasm, whatever you want to call it. And everyone's telling me, Paul, you remember what happened last time? Mass Effect 3, remember the ending? Do you remember how Andromeda treated you? Like a third redheaded stepchild kind of thing. And I'm like, I know, but it's Mass Effect. So, and the screenshots they're releasing are gorgeous. Yeah, I get it. It's a remaster. I can play through 1 and 2 and love those two, and then play 3 and deal with that.
But this time you're prepared for the terrible ending.
This time
or whatever.
Right, but I think maybe because I'm older, maybe because I'm able to see the ins and outs of video game development, and just because of the studio, right? I know how much work goes into it, and I know why they made the decisions they made. Doesn't mean I agree with it, but in my head, I'm like, they had to sit in a room together and figure out the best way to end it, and I get that because we've been having those conversations as a admin team. For the first time listener, me and Jabari are the 2 of the 4 co-owners of Whim Independent Studios LLC, or whimindie for short, and we have 2 games coming out this year. Woo. So we are having to make some decisions about one of those 2 games and how we want to release and end it and move on and all that, right? So I get it. And then knowing that Mass Effect 4 is going to have a set canon ending of 3. So the starting point of 4 is assuming you made this decision in 3. So if you've never played Mass Effect 3,
that's me.
I highly suggest in May, go and get it, play it. Maybe you'll have your heart broken like I was, or maybe you like the ending like so many did. But Mass Effect 4 is going to go off of the assumption that you made a certain decision in 3.
Sounds like Game of Thrones all over again. Such a great start.
See, but
great middle.
So many shows end that way too, though, right? They have all this momentum going in. Like the first show that their ending disappointed me was Scrubs. that they had a great beginning, great middle, and going into the end, you're like, okay, this is a nice ending. And then they rebooted it, and it was awful piece of crap. Don't watch it. It's like watching the last Airbender movie by M. Night Shyamalan.
No,
it's just awful.
That whole thing was terrible. So it wasn't even a beginning, like a good
exactly. But Game of Thrones, I mean, everyone just watched it for the boobies, right? I mean, that's what the show was pretty much about. Was either that and the backstabbing betrayal, right?
So the boobies on top of the
backstabbing betrayal. I see what you did there. I do enjoy. I do see what you did there. But I think the writers of Game of Thrones only had so much source material to work off of from J.R.R. Martin, whatever that pervert's name is. Right? You laughed.
I don't know. I mean, there's some conspiracy going on with him, or I don't know. I feel like this is close to the Me Too times where that show was really popular too. So I'm like, I don't know. Everybody, maybe everyone.
I wouldn't have connected the Me Too movement. Now that I've never seen Game of Thrones, so I really couldn't make that. You're the actor, so I'll default to you on that. I mean, you are a Hollywood actor.
Sure.
But yeah, But yeah, but other shows like Breaking Bad started off really slow and then ended on like the best production values possible, right? So I guess it just really depends on, I don't know, the source material and the quality of writers, and I don't know. It's so many factors go into a good final product, and you can only hope that your fans like it, right? I mean, as we're seeing with Cyberpunk, the fan base is not a happy camper right now.
Nope.
Jabari laughs because he knows. I mean, so here's the question. Is this another like No Man's Sky? Do you remember that game, Jabari? I think we talked about it on this podcast.
I think we talked about it, and I think we talked a lot about this with Grover as well in like an interview. But I never played the game. I've never even really heard it, even when it came out. So I was just getting information from people who have heard about it. So from you and Grover and stuff like that.
So here's what my thought on it is, right? So the problem with No Man's Sky was they overpromised, underdelivered, right? They made someone open their mouth, and the lead, whatever he was, the creative director, whatever this guy, the creator, he could not shut up. If he just kept his mouth shut and said, "We're making this game, we're gonna explore all these worlds, it's gonna be great. Think Minecraft, but in space," whatever he wanted to say, right? Could have been better than what he said. Nothing would have been better than what he said. So, but now is Cyberpunk a victim of like Duke Nukem and all these other games where they had so much time and so much hype going up into it? Could it have freaking Keanu Reeves was E3, you're breathtaking, right? You remember that, Jabari, remember that E3. So much could it? I don't think that Cyberpunk could have ever produced something that would have lived up to that. And then they just released crap. I mean, and I thought, some game-breaking bugs were bad on our end as an indie studio. Oh my god! Just some of the horse. Like, I made it to the final third of the game, and the game had a misglitch save or something. I had to start over.
What? So number one, you played it. You played?
Nope, I have not.
Oh, okay.
I've just heard.
Oh,
this is all third-hand, fourth-hand gossip from so-called news outlets.
Got it.
Right, so game journalism, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, and the game journalists are going to flock to it like vultures, because if it bleeds, it leads, and in video games, it's drama. So, crunch culture comes into play, and then over promising, under delivering. What's that quote that Grover likes saying, that you can release a game late and make it good, or you can release a game too early and it'll always be better. Whatever the saying, I'm butchering that quote right now.
I'm not even gonna try myself.
So, have you played it?
I've never played it. Was never interested in it in the very first place.
See, I wasn't either, and the only reason I saw it at E3 was because my brother was like, tell me all about it. I want swag. And I'm like, okay, fine. And it was like, okay, it's like The Witcher, but in the future. I mean, that's what Cyberpunk developer CD Projekt Red have, right? They're known for The Witcher series.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, you remember that book, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, right?
I do.
Not to say that Jason Schreier sponsors this podcast or anything, but really good book. Really, he likes the drama too. I mean, if you notice that. But if anything, that book taught me anything. Going from The Witcher 3 being this old, old style medieval, think Skyrim meets Westeros and from what's it called? Game of Thrones, right? So The Witcher 3, but then they're making it. So I'm assuming they had to remake assets. They had to remake. I think they even had to make a new engine for it too.
Yeah.
So
from what I was reading is that those creators, it's kind of like the issue that we had in the studio before, where they're bringing in these people and they want to create the game. They wanted to create the systems and stuff inside the game themselves and work out every mechanic. But the easiest thing to do would just going to like a midware company or using a different software that already has a program that's already fleshed out, and just putting that into your game. I think for the Cyberpunk, they decided to create their own systems, and it was like crappier versions of things that are already out and well established, and they didn't want to use that. They wanted to do it themselves. So I think that's why they had even more issues than they should have with that game.
So is this another story of flying too close to the sun? Another Icarus flight? Is this another one of these? Just their hubris got the better of them. We're CD Projekt Red. We're gonna kick ass and take names and show boobies. I mean, that's right. I mean, we're Polish and we're gonna kick ass, right? Is that what this is, or did it truly become something so big that could have never lived up to the expectations, or a little bit of both? What are your thoughts?
I think it's both, but especially that the latter, what you're saying. I think it was just hyped up so much, and they were trying to get so much to the game that they just couldn't handle it. It would have taken maybe another 3 or 4 years for them to really get this done correctly. But so there's deadlines and stuff for this. Yeah,
that's what this will be my next point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So thankfully, at Whim Independent Studio, whimindie, it's only the four of us, the four co-owners, right? We only answer to ourselves. We in our pocketbooks, right?
Exactly.
If the money's worth spending, right? I could not imagine having to go to a boardroom full of stockholders who are saying, "Where's my money?"
Exactly.
I mean, I could not imagine that. And Shadoe, you can go ahead and bleep that part out. I don't care. Whatever we want to do, we can make this PG-13 for all I care. Just having to answer for, where's my money? Are you going to pay me? When is that money coming? The rent's due. The lights are due. You're paying all these people. Where's that money coming from? And I could not. I mean, we have to answer to our Kickstarter because, Spellbearer is successful. Thanks to Jabari and his wonderful marketing team. Yeah. But we're accountable to those people, which I have another story to go into. But I could not imagine having worked on this game. How many years was it? 6 years in development already, and telling people we need to prolong it. We need to put it off. We can't. We're not there yet. We're not. And they're like, no, you need to do it by today or tomorrow or yesterday. Right? I mean, I could not imagine that pressure.
Yeah, exactly. And they started in 2012 with this game.
So yeah, more than Cyberpunk released last year. So 8 years of dev time, right? Yeah.
You can't.
And there's no way. I mean, if you're building it from scratch, not only you're building from scratch, but then for next gen consoles, for this, for that, you're adding this and that. I mean, it was doomed to fail with or without the hype at that point. And then, The Witcher 3. And as we read in that book, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, there's a lot of crunch that went into Witcher 3, into those kinds of games, right? We'll fix it in post. It's the old adage, right?
It's always ends terribly.
It always ends terribly, right? So is it the fault of the dev, or is it the fault of something else? How do we solve this problem, Jabari? If you were king for a day, how would you solve this problem? Like, do you underhype games? Do you stop marketing the way you do? Do you lower expectations? How do you hose down the fanboys is what I'm saying.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, that's a difficult question because you always have to keep the hype of your game. You can't make promises that are beyond what the scope of what you guys can do within the time frame that you have. And that's basically what happened. I just read an article on this, and they're actually like they've been pointing fingers at everybody, the development team, the fanboys, or the stockholders, or just people are pointing fingers at. But the interesting thing that I saw was that apparently it was the marketing team for that game that was making the big promises of having like customizable characters, like fully customized in this big world and stuff like that. And they're saying that, okay, the marketing individuals are projecting all these promises that we can't make. So instead of saying,
it sounds like that problem from No Man's Sky. Someone just couldn't shut their mouth.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's what it looks like, or at least that's what the angle of the article that I read. I'm not sure what the truth is. All I know is that this was a big game. They were expecting a lot of things, and everything went downhill real quick.
I mean, when you had a day one patch that was over, how big was that patch? Like, I think it was like 100 gigs or something for PC. I don't remember. I might be talking out my ass at this point, but it was huge, like a huge patch. I could not imagine that, right? Because I'm sure there's a go or no go date where you have to have the CDs or the Blu-rays printed out for retail, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that could happen when we were growing up with the N64, right? Once you release the damn cartridge, there's no going back. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, Jabari. It's such a rough road because the fanboys, you can only satisfy so many of them at one time, right? You got these ravenous fans that want this the next biggest and greatest thing, and then they want the same thing regurgitated to them on a silver platter, right? So I mean, I'm guilty of that. I just ranted about Mass Effect and the crappy ending it was for years. I'm going on years now, right? So, I mean, I get it. It's a rough situation to be a dev and to deal with all that stuff, right? But at least some devs kind of take that in stride and like they make jokes of themselves. Like, for example, I am playing GTA Online a lot with Jordan Windmaster, one of our streamers, developers that works for the studio, right? And I've been streaming with him, and one of the latest content releases on GTA is something called the Cayo Perico heist. And it's the very first heist you can do in the game solo. And why is that important that you can do this solo? Is because GTA is known for being, and I think we talked about this several episodes ago in season 1. GTA Online is a horribly toxic community. I told that story to you, Jabari. Remember when I was delivering some illicit goods, and someone tried to blow me up, but I ended up using my minigun, and I blew them up. Yeah. So I mean, and that's some new player decided to try to come after me, and I'm like, nope, I got bigger toys than you do. Yeah, you laughed the exact same way too. It's great. But so the developers listened. They gave the people who want to just make money in the game, leave me the F alone. I'm going to just play in my little corner. And they gave them this awesome DLC. And they even one of the NPCs that come with the DLC, his name is Pavel. And he's like your support character, right? He's this like half drunk Russian guy that, old salt pretty much, right? He lives in a submarine under the sea. I have not seen daylight for days, and tonight will not be right. Something like that, right? Like a Russian Ahab, pretty much. And he at one point he says, "Capitan, have you tried to shoot down the flying bikes with the cruise missiles? It's quite fun." And it's making the joke that one of the most overpowered weapons the developers put in the game is this flying motorcycle with missiles. Oh shit. Oh. And those bikes with missiles are the number one way people grief other people in the game. Uh-huh. When you're trying to deliver something to make money, they use that to go after you.
They're listening.
So the developers are listening. They're just being asses about it, right? I mean, they could solve the problem so much simpler ways, but they choose not to. Right. So I don't get it, Jabari. Is there any other cases in your experience of when the developers do listen? I know Grover likes to tell the story of Final Fantasy, and they had to freaking throw a meteor at the planet, end the game, take it offline to rebuild it. Right. I mean, that's the developers listened. They had to do something and rebuild the game from scratch, pretty much, from what I hear.
That's what that was about.
Any
Okay.
you? I think so. I'm sure I'm butchering the story, and Grover will correct me off air or on air, whatever. But is there any stories like that you know of any games you liked the developers listened to the fanboys?
That's sure. Like right now, like while I'm trying to think about it, I'm like, derp, 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 but I'm sure like there's stories. So I think I'm gonna have to come back later on that. But
Okay.
but yeah, like I've been playing League of Legends recently. I know it's an older game, but people are still playing it, and newbies like me are
Oh
there.
yeah, they are.
Fresh meat who wants my
Speaking
buttons.
Speaking of toxic communities,
You're right, yeah. That's another thing. Yeah, they're pretty toxic. I turn off my chat so I can't hear anybody, but I still get their pings and stuff. Their angry pings on the game indicating that I'm making some type of mistake or something like that. But I can't hear what they're saying. I'm just like, la-di-da-di-da, here I am.
You did not boss your channel or lane appropriately, Jabbar.
Apparently so, yeah. I did not smite
but
this
yet,
dragon when I was supposed to smite it or whatever. And I'm just like, I told you guys, I don't know how to play. That's what I tell everybody at the start. I'm new to this.
See, now is League of Legends a result of that tier system, right? Where you start at bronze and you go to silver and then you go to gold and then platinum or whatever the hell the system was, right? Does that effectively create toxicity, like the get good scrub mentality that you used to have, from what I recall?
I still do have in some context. I mean,
Freaking Age of Empires.
Yeah, now you guys are just destroying me in that. Like, I don't even know what to do. Like, you guys scale way too hard. I have to end you guys real quick. In that.
Well, because if you're French in the early game, oh my god, if you start next to you, you're done. Game over. You want to pack it in. I found Jabari for. Oh, I'm done. Resign.
Oh, but
that's what one of our friends did, right? As soon as they found out that you started attacking them, they just resigned right away.
No, like I took out their villagers and they kind of
it was a wrap.
They had to resign. You know.
Yeah, but so you are not that person in League of Legends. What I'm hearing.
No, that's a totally different, different game and skill sets and stuff like that. But for that game, like the bronze and iron and whatever they have into there, those systems have always been there. You can go all the way back to like the 2000s when like Warcraft 3 came out and stuff. It's just these tiers are just like, there's just competitive tiers out there. Since now that these games are, everybody can have it. You don't have to go to a store to buy the CD and put into your computer and have a good internet connection and try to go to competitions to prove that you are a top tier player. Now you can just like League of Legends, everything's right there. You download it for free. The game's free. And you can see what tier you're ranked at if you're playing ranked games and all that. All that's there. But it's all a competition. And people are serious about competition, competitiveness.
Of course they are.
And yeah, that's where the toxic stuff comes out. If this was, if this was a game, if it didn't have like the whole ranking system, I don't think it would be as toxic as it is, and I don't think people will be playing that game as much either, because that edge of competitiveness, people really like that. People love to win. And that's where toxic stuff comes up. I feel that competitiveness from individuals. But
so I think that League of Legends ends up being one of those games where if the devs do listen to a faction of the players, and nerf something or whatever, then there's going to be immediately a revolt equally from the people who were taking advantage of that, whatever got nerfed or if something got buffed. And then, I mean, League of Legends and fighting games for that matter, right, are those games that you're just, they just breed that, right? Where I've heard of stories of people counting frames of how to do combos in fighting games like Smash Brothers, Mortal Kombat, right? They count frames, Jabari. How do you? I don't like in my head. I can grind a game out. I can play. I used to play Pokemon hours on end. Grand Theft Auto. I can sit there for hours and just mindlessly do something, right? Because that's what I like to do. Because I like to just unwind, listen to a podcast, whatever, and just do nothing. Don't have to worry about anything. That's what I play video games for. There are people who actively play video games, and not for the experience, but because they want to get good. GITGUD, right? Count frames. I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean,
shoot, I have a life, so I can't dedicate that much time to figure out this one game that I'm probably gonna set aside, a month after playing it. Like I can't do it.
So let me ask you this: do you think 10-year-old Jabari or younger Jabari would be mad at older Jabari? Because when we were little kids, we think, man, I can't wait till I'm an adult and I can start making money and I can play all the video games I want and not have to do anything. That's what we think, right? When we're younger. I mean, at least for me, right? Like, do you think the younger versions of us would be mad at us? Like, you're an adult, you have money, why aren't you playing more video games?
Yeah, I think so. Be so pissed off at myself. I mean, like, you're a big
I'm sure
boy, you can buy all these games now. You choose not to. You choose rent and car payments over games. What's wrong with you?
Right? Like, how dare I want to live in a nice, comfortable house?
Oh man.
How dare I want to keep the lights on in that house?
Shoot. I don't even have to worry about rent. I just have to worry about car payments. But like you, on the other hand, shoot, rent, car, or no, mortgage. You got to pay mortgage and all that.
Mortgage, and the car payment too. Yeah. Yeah, that nice badass car I got, that cost money.
Yeah, 10-year-old me will be so pissed off right now.
Oh yeah, 8-year-old Paul, 10-year-old Paul would be just livid. Like you became the thing we swore to destroy.
Exactly, right? You're not fun anymore.
You're not fun anymore. And I would answer, listen here, you little
right.
Like talking to one of my talking to the students I work with, right? Like, you're old, Mr. Vela, and I'm like, shut up, you little like one of the kids the other day was telling me, virtually, of course, right? Because we're still all virtual, right?
Yeah.
My parents are old, and I'm like, yeah, how old are your parents? They're 35, and I'm like, I'm not much younger than your parents. They're like, you're old too, Mr. I'm like, bah, yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah. Good times. Yeah. So yeah, 8-year-old Paul, 8-year Jabari would be best friends making fun of us at this point, I think. So let me ask you this next question then, Jabari. What do you think of games that charge people money to play online? So World of Warcraft is one of the prime examples, right? Blizzard, to get on their BattleNet or whatever it's called these days, you got to pay, right? You pay to play. It's a monthly surcharge, whatever it is. But then you are privy, then you're charged for the DLC, right? From what I remember. Like you're charged to buy all the stuff.
Yeah.
Same thing in Grand Theft Auto, where you can pay money for in-game money to get all the stuff you want, but the DLC is free. Like that Cayo Perico heist I mentioned earlier, that was free. Which model's better, do you think? Do you want to charge your players for content and for the high quality servers, modded, modded, like someone's a protector, right? There's someone in charge of making sure there's nothing bad going on. Or the model of GTA where like, anyone can do whatever they want. Go ahead and mod and cheat as long as it doesn't cost me money. Which model do you think is better?
Okay. The first one that you mentioned, that's the older model, right? That's
the Blizzard model.
Yeah, the Blizzard model is outdated. With like League of Legends that came in and stuff like that, where you can download the game for free and play on the internet for free, but you're being charged for if you want a champion or if you want like skins and stuff like that. That's the new way now, and I feel like this new way is it's much better in the long run. For the company itself, yes, and for the player itself too, because the player can buy whatever they want as long as they have money for it, right? And then for the company itself, they are encouraged to create more content for the game in order to keep people playing on this game. And like League of Legends, do you know what a skin is, right? A champion skin. Yeah, they sell those things for like $10, and
it's like the hats from Team Fortress.
Oh, okay.
The hats from Team Fortress 2, right? So who makes League of Legends again? Is it Epic?
Riot, I believe. Yeah.
Riot. Okay.
So
Riot's yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's potential in this new model to make a lot more money than just focusing on the DLC and the purchase of the game itself and the cost of keeping up their server and stuff like that. There's a lot more potential in selling people these skins because people are really dedicated to these games. They're devoted to a champion in leagues for their character, so they want to buy all the skins for it. And some of these skins have like 8 or even 9 different skins that you can buy, and people who are dedicated to it, that's like $90 right there, right off the bat, just off the skin. And then it's other characters that you do use in this game. If you're really into it, then that's so it starts adding up. Like the older model, you're probably going to pay around not in a lifetime, but you pay $60 for the game, and then for the service, the internet service, is probably going to be around $14.99 or so, and sometimes the DLC as well. So you're looking at usually probably a lifespan of around $200 to $300 for the whole lifespan of that player. But in this new model, you might the average is probably going to be around more like $400, $500, $600 for these individuals that are really deeply in love with these games. So yeah, right. There's more financial.
Or you have the little kid in GTA who wants to flying motorcycle with missiles.
Exactly.
Who will then take mommy and daddy's credit card and buy the in-game cash.
Exactly.
And then the conspiracy theory is Rockstar lets it happen because then they terrorize the players who are playing for free, right? They're making all their money in game, and then they're not spending the real money for this end game money, right? So you see what's happening. So the conspiracy theory that Rockstar looks the other way, like, oh, you're getting griefed. Oh, that sucks to be you. Hey, look at this in game money. These shark cards is what they're called, right? So right. So I mean that's my conspiracy theory, my tinfoil hat of gaming. But yeah, I agree with you that skins and things like that are infinitely cheaper to produce than DLC. As we both know, there are a lot of money goes into development, and DLCs probably cost a lot of money. And I think DLCs are just a product of episodic gaming, I think, in my opinion, where remember when Left 4 Dead was released in episodes, 5 episodes at a time, 1 episode out of 5 for a season. I don't know if you remember that or not.
No.
Telltale Games was really good at this until they went belly up, as some of the games who don't evolve well do. But then DLCs were a direct result of that, where you had a game, and then a DLC would bookend something, add something to the middle of it or near the end of it, and people like that. People like, for example, let's say Mass Effect, right? I love Mass Effect 2. So they added 3-4 more story DLCs to it that expanded the lore, expanded more characters and whatnot, right? But then there was also the DLCs, like you said, for new armors, new character skins, new outfits, things like that, right? So, I mean, I get skins ends up being, in the long run, the more fiscally option, right? Fiscally, you make more money, right? Less work goes into it, and more people pay for it, right? So you offset the cost. So I get it as a business person. As a gamer, when I buy a game, I want all the game. I want it, right? I mean,
no, I agree with you.
I'm only going to buy one AAA game a year. I want that game to have everything it's ever going to have, right? But that's not going to happen anymore, unfortunately. Yeah, that model went the way of the dodo.
Shoot, and you know, these models and stuff like that, they're always being tweaked. They're always changing. They're always moving forward. Like now, have you ever, you heard of Genshin, right? The Breath of the Waifus. No. Yeah, and they're using a combination of open world and gacha, which is a system that's popularized in Japan. And their model basically is, it's gacha. Like you went to the candy store before, right? And maybe there's a bubblegum machine, and you put a coin into it, and you're hoping that you get a red one. But, out comes a yellow one, and then you put another coin in there, and then it's not red again, it's a green one, and then a blue one comes out, and then you finally get that red, right? But how much money you just spent, like $1 trying to get that red one, and this is the gacha system that's being used in Genshin, and people love this. People love it, and also Genshin is a free game, so you just download it, and it has a great story, it has great art. The playability in it is really great as well, and it's a continuous game. There's so much content into that game, and it's all for free. But where they make their money is in that gacha system. If you want a certain character,
so it sounds like loot boxes or Mark II, like part 2 of loot boxes.
I think, similar to
where you have a certain chance of getting this awesome content, whatever, right? Weapon, armor set, and then you're paying for that chance. So is that gambling? I mean, is that loot boxes 2.0 just dressed up in waifus and anime boobies? I mean, I don't know.
Shoot, I
play the on a whim drinking game for this episode. For every time we say the word boobies, take a shot.
We'd be so drunk.
But yeah,
loot box 2.0. I think you're pretty much right on the nail there. And is it gambling? Yeah, to an extent.
Sure.
Legal gambling, even the kids could get into it.
As legal as gambling can be. Right?
And I mean, the gacha system, the gambling system is not you have to pay to win. In the game itself, you're getting XP, and you're getting like these in-game coins and stuff that you can use to instead of real money, but to get the characters and stuff that you want. So they still give you the chance to play the game without having to pay anything at all.
Right. Like GTA. Much, right. I can grind out money to get what I want, but then I can also use mommy's credit card and get the cash and just get it right away.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So the pay to win style, right? The pay to
exactly. So what I'm saying is that there's a fusion. There's the this new system that we're using is slowly changing into a different one. It's fusing with other ones. So gacha and this loot box thing, that's combining together to become Genshin, this new system.
So let me ask you
Mhm.
this: is there an equal opportunity to win a skin or a character or anime titties of equal value? Right? Are you gonna get your money's worth? Right? Or is it like anime boobies, great character skin, or a poopy flavored lollipop? Are you know what I mean? Is if I put $10 into this gotcha system,
Mhm.
do I have equal chance of getting something worth $10, or is there a dud price like a poopy flavored lollipop?
I see. Yeah. So yeah, it's never guaranteed. Like you said, it is a bit like gambling.
Okay, so it's the loot box. It's loot
Yeah.
box controversy 2.0.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. So you could
Dressed up with anime. Yeah.
Mhm. You could put $200 into it and get just total crap.
And-
You could put
And get
$5.
a poopy
into it.
flavored lollipop.
Yeah. You put $5
That's
into it and get like the best character in the freaking game. It's all chance.
It's all chance.
Mhm.
So, and I know a lot of was it Peggy in Australia and the European rating system are making, a lot of countries are making moves to banning this kind of system, right? Because it is gambling and people are throwing so much money into this to no avail.
Mhm.
They spent hundreds and get poop, while a one time play at $5 gets you all the anime movies that you wanted, right? So
We're so drunk right
Every
now,
time
I swear.
people are going to be so drunk at the end of this podcast.
22 shots later.
Shot.
Hi, Paul. How's it going? The video game. Yeah. What are we doing?
Shots.
Boom.
Shots. Exactly. Yeah. Play the on a just this episode though. I'm sure that it will never come. Anime boobies will never come up
I
again.
think that's the
But,
next episode, actually. Is more about anime movies.
More about anime movies. We know our target audience, I guess. So yeah. Loot boxes are back.
Mhm.
Just brighten up with anime boobies. That's the way of the future.
That's the
right
way
now.
to do it.
They,
That's how to
they
sell.
they know their target audience just like we do.
Mhm. Sex sells.
So
That's the number one rule.
So maybe we can wrap up with this thought. With you mentioned the Me Too movement earlier, right? Is there going to be a moment where that whole sex sells meets the Me Too movement, or has it already happened?
I think it's
Where
it's happening. It's been happening. Yeah, I think this has been an issue for decades, and it gets worse. Especially with a game like
Right,
Genshin, with these beautiful ladies. There's so much sexual content out there. Luckily, not luckily, this coronavirus has canceled like cons and stuff, and this was
Right.
I think a little bit before Genshin came out. So I'm afraid for the girls that go out there dressing up as these the characters from the games and going to these cons, and people are just some people are dirty. They don't know the boundaries, or they're like,
sure.
But we can go.
People are dirty. Period. I mean, they don't know how to shower.
Yeah, especially at a con, right? But I think we can save that
that's the thing.
conversation for the next episode when we get there.
We'll save Confunk for the next episode. So if you're
It's not boobies. It's not anime boobies. It's confunk for episode 7.
Episode 7. So, listeners, I'm hoping you enjoyed On a Whim's triumphant return in a audio only format. If you enjoyed this past 50-minute plus time of me and Jabari just nonsense, just talking. One of the beautiful things is me and Jabari are actually friends, and we do enjoy talking to each other. So if you enjoyed Right? I mean, I like talking to you. I don't know if you're talking to me. You're like, oh, this bum drags me, making me be social. What the matter with him? So if you all enjoyed this, please think about giving us a rating. Whatever we'll be posting this on multiple podcast outlets. I'm using a new system that we were introduced to not too long ago. So we're on multiple. We'll be on Spotify. We're going to be on Apple. We'll be on however you listen to podcasts. If you enjoyed this, give us a high rating, 5 stars. Leave us a good comment. Hey, I enjoyed it. Hey guys, less anime movies, more video games. I know it'll never happen that way. I know you. So if you enjoyed it, great.
He turned it off.
Please.
I'm sorry. Go for it. I was trying to end it. I'm like,
oh yeah, it's a laugh riot. So I'm Paul Bella. That's Jabari Lewis Smith. We are on a whim, and we will see you next time.
Adios.
Any parting words, Jabari?
Uh-huh.
There it is. Keep it nerdy, y'all.